Welcome to the Conscious Living Podcast, conversations to educate, empower, and enlighten our world. An uplifting and inspiring series of conversations and talks with your host, Jackie Woodside. We are educating minds, empowering lives, and enlightening souls to create a world where love prevails. In this engaging podcast, we deliver exciting, positive, transformative talks and teachings designed to elevate your life. Now, let's join our host, Jackie Woodside, for this week's session.
Hi there. Thank you so much for being here for another episode of the Conscious Living Podcast, where we are here to educate, empower, and enlighten our world. You know, I was just looking the other day, I'm upwards of like 75 produced podcasts on the Conscious Living Podcast. So if you haven't seen all of them, if you've missed some of these fantastic conversations and interviews, make sure you look us up on Apple, Spotify, any place that you listen to your podcasts, because there's so much depth of knowledge and wisdom and inspiration that each one of these episodes brings. And today I'm excited to bring forth yet another inspiring person who is committed to living a conscious life. Megan Bello and I met at a networking group meeting. She heard that I have the Conscious Living Podcast and the Conscious Living Summit, and her heart just leapt out of her, and she's been reaching out to me and wanting to get in touch with me because she's super passionate about awakening and about people living a conscious life. Let me tell you a little bit about Megan. She's a little bit different than my usual guest. She's a sixth-generation Colorado resident who lives on an incredible farm in the San Luis Valley with her husband, daughter, 150 chickens, ducks, turkeys, and geese, 16 goats, and 2 sheep. She runs a real estate brokerage business where she supports agents to live the life that they want while growing their real estate business. As I said, not my usual guest, but Megan, you have a story to tell. You have a passion about conscious living. So welcome to the Conscious Living Podcast. Why don't you just say a little bit more about yourself to help our listeners get to know you and your path and your story?
Thank you. Hi, I'm super excited to be here. I believe I started I've been in real estate about 8 years now. I've been doing I've got my own brokerage for the last 4. And I sort of started, I had this sort of like conscious awakening. Like I always like to think I was a pretty awake, open-minded, person, but I had sort of a shift when it was late 2019, early 2020. And with just sort of the way I was doing business, and I was just sort of like, it was just kind of unfulfilling to just sort of be running in the circles that I was. And so I started to just really kind of get into this in the later part of 2019. And I wanted to help other agents live consciously too. Because I think if we have, real people in real estate, that aren't in this sort of superficial worldly, I've got this car and I've got this many closings, we can actually make more of an impact, because real estate does touch every facet of everything in every industry. And I try to live, and I just like I said, just being conscious of why we're doing what we're doing, instead of for sort of just because we've always done something, right?
Megan, I'm curious, what did you get tired of? You said you got tired of some of the things in the way that you were working and the way you were doing business. What did you get tired of?
I was constantly catering to everybody in a way that wasn't like life-giving. Like I didn't have boundaries. I was sort of just, oh, you want to do a deal? Okay. Oh, you want to do it? And I wasn't, while I've always been sort of loud, I was never quite like bold, I guess, in the way where I was like, if this doesn't align, the answer is no, not because you called me and you were really nice and you wanted to meet with me. I remember I had a conversation with my broker when I was a younger agent, that another office was calling to talk to me about moving my business over there. And I wasn't even interested at all, even a little bit. I was like, well, maybe I'll just see him for like coffee or something. And he kind of looked at me and he's like, why would you do that? And now where I sit now, I can kind of see that I've and so I want to help other agents be in control and power of their life and business too. Because there was room, for all agents. The average realtor only sells 6 houses a year. So most of your agents that are making a living and doing this are just regular people. They're not selling sunset and showing up with, in which there's still lots of wealth and abundance to be had in this industry, which is another reason I really like it. But I sort of realized at that point that I wasn't going to ever get happiness. I was sort of chasing my tail. And I felt like I kind of had to reboot. I had left a marriage. I had a house. I had a lot of really pretty things sort of set up that I was just like, goodbye. And it's been awesome. That was basically, it was more of like a feeling. And what was frustrating was I was the only one who knew, and everybody else who saw me would have like probably wanted to be me. I had the top producer. I was award winning. I was friends with my brokers. We went to Mexico together. Like my husband sold cars. We were, but it wasn't, it was just wasn't, like I said, it wasn't fulfilling. We were doing those things because we couldn't sort of be. So I didn't want to do anything for work anymore that I couldn't just be. Like I am who I am, and I'm in every situation that I want to be. And instead of like worrying and arguing about, am I going to know if this situation arises? Like I'm just going to know that I have the answer, or I know someone who does at the time.
So I just want to interject here, Megan, because I think what you're saying, a lot of people can relate to that sense of, am I doing what I'm doing in a way that really feeds my soul? Does this really nourish me? Does this industry, or the way this industry is being conducted, align with my values? Am I being the kind of person that I really want to be? Am I creating the lifestyle and the quality and depth of life, the experience of meaning that I want to have in my life? So I don't think it's industry specific to real estate, although, certainly that's your experience. So that's where, a place you can speak from. But, as a coach for 30 years, those are the things that I hear from people in every industry, in science and medicine and ministry, sometimes in people who are financial services brokers, developers, real estate developers. So I've really worked with people from every industry, and I hear that over and over and over again, almost like my life is living me and I want to live my life. And it sounds like that's what you were saying. You had gotten into this, what I call a default life of all of the external, decorations of the house and the car and the marriage, but on the inside, your consciousness, your soul, your spirit was just withering and dying. And good for you, Megan, for listening to that call and for having the courage and the integrity to listen to your spirit, your soul's messaging, and walk away from it all. I mean, that's pretty incredible. So I'm curious if you could say a little bit more about what gave, because I'm sure there's people listening that are like, oh my God, she's speaking my language. That's exactly how I feel. And I haven't had the courage to do what she did. So let's speak to that a little bit, Megan. What was it that gave you the impetus, the courage, the strength to walk away from it all and reinvent yourself?
It was a few phases. Nothing happens overnight. There are probably like 4 or 5 defining moment days. In the divorce with my husband, I had also severed a lot of relationships. And a lot of those was with, which I feel in hindsight now wasn't as severed as it felt in the moment. But honestly, some of where I got to today, I was kind of an angry, pissed off little kid that just said, I'm going to I used some of that sort of energy to funnel me through. And then I just started looking to see I'm kind of in denial. I get into denial sometimes. I'm the incurable optimist. I have rose-colored glasses on my face at all times. So when I'm looking at a situation that I'm like, this may not be, like, I usually will rose color it too much, and then I'm like, oh no, like I can't rose color this. Like it just, like the boundaries aren't there. The dynamic isn't working. Like I don't like this. And a lot of it was, I thought, well, I wanted one thing when I didn't want another. And we were young and we get to the workforce and we have other things and trauma from our life. Sometimes we try to build these careers around us that fixes those traumas, which doesn't fix anything, but just sort of keeps you in that, that mode. So,
okay, hold on. This is so good, Megan. So sometimes we choose careers that help us try to fix our traumas. So say that's so rich, right? That is just that is packed with wisdom. I became a psychotherapist, was a therapist for 30 years. And, probably for the last 15 of it, had that same kind of existential angst that you're talking about, knowing that I was being called to a different expression, a different experience in life. And I didn't have the courage. It took me, as you said, there's phases of it. It took me probably 10 years to actually make that leap. But it's clear to me the first at least 10 years of my going into the field of psychotherapy was because of my own trauma and needing to address and heal that at a deep level. Well, what better way to address and heal your own trauma than to go into some place that helps you do that? So unpack that a little bit, Megan. What did you see for yourself?
I had kind of a chaotic relationship with my parents as a teenager. I wasn't like a wild, crazy, it was kind of a strict household. It was just kind of, I was the oldest. They had me young. I wanted freedom. They didn't want, I was kind of from that space. And then from that, I ended up moving to South Dakota to live with my grandparents and having the worst high school experience possible. I didn't have a friend. I didn't have it was to be an extrovert and to be who I am now. It was so painful and so hard. And I still had wonderful connections. I ended up graduating early so I could come back. And so then I began to work. And then when I hit the workforce, I got a job in sales because I like to talk and I don't mind people. And it just sort of, so the sales was almost what I feel like saved me, because I didn't need to have parents because I could talk and I could sell anything. And I was actually at a kiosk at the mall selling hair straighteners, making straight commission as a 17 and 18-year-old. And it was the bomb. It was great. I got to travel around. I met people of different cultures. In the mall I was at, they were either owned predominantly by Israelis. So I, got a lot of exposure to that culture. There was a lot of Hispanic culture in there helping that with the sales. I'd go to San Diego. There'd be like 12 of us in a 3-bedroom thing, just going and working the fairs. It was a pretty cool experience. So I sort of did fall in love with sales. And I feel like sales has been the love that's kept me going, and has been the constant love of it. And why I've been selling has been different, because obviously if you're selling a hair straightener for $200 in 20 minutes, that's a little bit different than someone who's going to call you to buy a house over years and years and years and months. Or I sold barbecue catering before. And so I've always just sort of wanted to be the best salesperson, because to me that was the out. It was recession proof. I could get a job anywhere. If I wanted to get into medical field, I just had to sell medical stuff. Okay. And a degree, while there's definitely value with people who have degrees, I felt if I was just a little bit of a better salesperson, I probably didn't need a degree. Right. As long as I kept my craft sharp, I would be fine. So yeah. And then the real estate was just the next sort of thing. I did make a card. I don't know. I wish I had it here from when I was 12, when they sent, it is right here. They send the stickers for your school.
Yeah.
So I gave myself a business card at 12 and a half, because I did all want to be in real estate.
Yeah. That's great.
So that was just sort of the natural thing. And then I did know I wanted to be a managing broker. When I was in real estate school, sitting with, the guy came in and he's like, there's 12 of you, 3 of you will be here in 2 years. That's just the way it goes. Yeah. And you have to be committed if you want this. And I turned around and I'm like, sorry, y'all, I'm here and I'm opening a brokerage. So this seat is taken. It's over.
Wow. Megan, you have a real kind of bold confidence about you.
I don't know where it comes from, but yes, and it's saved me.
Yeah. Well, how do you relate that to kind of this, what I would call a spiritual path or evolving path that you're on towards conscious living? How do you see that, kind of bold, I'm just going to ask, I'm just going to say it, I'm just going to do it attitude, and in terms of kind of your spirit rising? Do you see any correlation there?
I do. I think it is my spirit that keeps me bold. I think it's kept me protected, because my mouth has definitely saved me. I think in a lot of the situations I had been in, being sort of shy can be dangerous. So when you are I think that that's part of it. I think too that it's easier to be bold and direct when you realize that you only have one chance to say something.
Mhm.
And I kind of got tired of having conversations in the shower. Like, I just kind of say it. Because the worst thing that happens is, obviously, like, a relationship is ruined, but if you're coming from a non-defensive, non-triggered place when you say bold things,
Yeah.
shouldn't be worried of conflict because you're not triggered. You can hear what that other person is saying, even if they're in sort of that space.
Yeah. So
Um,
you've been bold and you haven't had it come back to bite you in any negative way.
I mean, of course, it's bit me back negatively. Like, I mean, it does sometimes, but when it does, it always works out bigger in the end. Like, it's okay.
Right.
Like, we don't have that much control over what we think we do anyway. And people aren't really thinking about us as much as we think they are.
Mhm.
So we can say those things, and especially in the industry, and I do struggle with it a lot because I was raised in a household where confrontation is bad. And a lot of agents like to use confrontation for their ego, and they like to sort of, there's cases where agents will make a big deal out of an inspection report just to create a scenario to look better for their clients, right? Because a story sells and that sort of thing. And I don't like it when I see the inauthenticity in the industry, or if someone jeers at me or talks to me differently, I call it out, and I'm like, look, this is inappropriate and I don't like this. Like, and if you speak to me this way, I'm going to say something. And just FYI, everybody else is thinking what I'm saying.
Right.
So
Wow. Wow. Very subtle. Very subtle you are.
I try, and I do know, and I realize that I'm intense, and I read a lot of books. I'm always open. Like, I can be wrong often. I have been wrong. I will
Yeah.
be wrong again.
Yeah.
Like, I do get triggered. I do get upset. I do get emotional, but I don't hold on to it.
Yeah.
It doesn't chain me as much as it did before, and working on that.
So what is it that drew you to, when we met and you're like, oh, she's cool, and this conscious living thing, like, what was it, not to me personally, but to the notion of conscious living? What was it that drew you to it, to the point where you've kind of been like, contacting me and wanting to be a part of the show and part of what I'm doing? So what is it about conscious living that calls to you?
There's just no other way to be alive.
Yeah,
We're
right.
only here one time. Like, do you all understand? Like, you're born and then you die, and that's it. And no matter what the theory is of what happens on the other side or whatever, like that, this is it. The conversations that you have, what you watch on TV, who you are with, like who you impact, the books you read, those are a direct correlation to how great your life is, and then how you think about those things, right? So, like, the crap you put in, and then how you the shade that you look at it is kind of how your life is. And when I learned that, I just was like, oh my God, well, then I'm just going to live the most authentic, conscious life, because it is true. No one else is me and has been given my abilities and I love being a managing broker. To open a brokerage the way that I have, most agents won't do, because it's not lucrative at first at all for a long time. My splits are very low. Part of the reason I don't like these big box brokerages is they're taking 30% or more of your splits for their ego, for their number,
their recognition.
Correct. For their stuff, which is fine. That's a business. Are there people to pay it? Sure. But I don't think that should be the only place. I don't think we should have just big brokerages, because if those big brokerages, if there's only 5 of them, they all have office policy manuals. Who's running the industry? Just like anything else, that's not free. That's not diverse. This isn't enough. And I don't believe that a leader, a managing broker of thousands and thousands of agents, can know all their agents and can love on their agents and can watch their documents and truly, truly care for them. So I took a pay cut. I used to sell houses. I used to get full commissions. Now I get little baby commissions, and I cap. So my top producers pay me very low because I don't want to own their sphere. I understand that the agents and their people who they've grown with, just like my people, those are mine. And a brokerage that comes in and is like, ooh, here's my CRM. What are they going to do when you leave with your client database? What are they going to do? Why are they offering you this? Right. So I do try to take a very open-minded approach. Like, you will be a successful agent no matter where you go if you do the work. If you talk to people.
Are you not selling? You're just managing the other brokers, and you take a commission of their sales.
So
so you gave up sales to manage.
I do.
Oh, I didn't understand that managing brokers don't sell. I assumed you were still in the game.
I do here and there. I've got some like if my friend, like people who I've bought and sold with, you know, they text me up, hey girl, help me sell, of course. But I've moved from after the birth of my daughter about a year ago, fully 100% to the point where I'm actually going through my CRM for all my cold calls I made when I got in 30,000 of them like 8 years ago. And I'm bribing my agents to come to class. Everyone who comes to class gets a lead.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, that's been, and I want my agents to be conscious and aware of what they're doing and what we are, because that will go long beyond me. And I got a really, like I said, the relationships didn't end well with that brokerage when I went through my divorce, and I was like, okay, I'm going to go on my own, and I'm going to felt like it was always the plan. I just was like, I guess I'll do it now. And my broker, his name is Gabe, he was amazing. He taught me everything I know. He brought so many things to light. He really, I mean, we were friends. We traveled together. He was really a huge key factor in my life. And before we had a chance to connect again, he passed away.
Oh, wow.
And I fortunately am friends with his wife. Like we, you know, like everything, but like, I understand because Gabe had such a short life and he left so many people so quickly. And he has impacted so hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of deals every day through the Denver real estate market are impacted by Gabe still.
Wow.
And so I saw that, like that impact, and like that Gabe was to me, to so many other people, you know. So,
wow. And so you wanted to be that for other people.
Yeah. I mean,
that mentor, that teacher, that coach, that guide.
He changed my life. I wouldn't have had my career the way I would have had without him.
What did he do?
He listened to me. He took me seriously. He gave me what I needed. Gabe had a really good way of giving people what they needed when they needed it. And he had a really good way of asking questions in ways that would help you sort of understand, like instead of giving you the answer, he would sort of like lead you there. I remember the first impactful conversation we had was we were going over my numbers. And I was always very much say a salesperson. This isn't enough. I need to make more. I need to have all the money and sell all the houses and blah, blah, blah. And he like looked at me and he's like, you just made like $60,000. And I was like, but that's not enough. And he was like, dude, you're in your 20s. What do you got, girl? Like, it's like, look at you, like, go buy some nice clothes, save your money, like, good job. And I never, like, he just took the minute to do that, while other, you know, coaches, and especially in the industry, because they want to just keep you going and pushing and pushing and pushing to pay for the brokerages, because these big box brokerages, they cost a lot of money. They don't cash flow like they should, because there's a lot of hands in the pot. So that was what he did. He offered low splits. He offered a wonderful culture.
And that's the same things you're doing then, creating the culture, helping people focus on their lifestyle, celebrate their successes. It's wonderful that you had that kind of a mentor, Megan, and now you are out creating that mentorship for other people. I mean, that's really extraordinary. You know, you're going to have an extraordinary future for yourself. And particularly the more you create a conscious business, you help your brokers to be more conscious. I mean, I don't know if you use any kind of mind techniques in terms of the sales, like visualizations and, you know, affirmations and meditation and goal tracking. All of those kinds of things really help a business culture be more successful and conscious.
Yeah, we do a weekly mastermind every week where we check in on our goals, what we're doing. I encourage all of my agents to have a morning routine. Yep. I've been keeping a journal since October 2019 that I write 5 gratitudes and then 10 like affirmation goals, and then 3 things I need to get done, and then how I'm going to take care of myself.
Beautiful. Oh, what a wonderful morning routine, Megan. Thank you for sharing that with us. That is really, really awesome.
I've done one thing consistently since October 2019. It's been that. And it's been
that morning routine. Yeah.
And writing it down. Like the things that I have checked off just by writing them down every day is like, if you take anything that's it's literally 20 seconds a day, you can get a notebook at the Dollar Tree. Like anybody, it's great.
So you write down what you want to get, your goals for the day. Is that what you said?
I write down 5 things I'm thankful for, and then I have 10 that never change. Like, I am an excellent wife and mother. I make
affirmations
here. Yeah. And then I just have been switching them out. So I used to write, I own my own farm. I have my own farm now. So now
now you have to need a new one, right? All right. And then, but what were the what was the three things? So 10 affirmations, 5 gratitudes, 3 what?
3 things I've got to get done. Like the
3 things you have to get done today. Okay, good.
The must-do list.
Yeah, the must-do list. That's fantastic. It's a great way to focus. And, you've got your chickens, your goats, your sheep, and your 1-year-old baby. And, your life is expanding rapidly, shall we say.
Yes.
Megan, this is great. What else do you want to leave people with before we wrap up? Just kind of one final thought about living consciously, in business and in life.
If it came to your brain, you can figure out a way to do it.
Yeah. So
Don't
great.
give yourself an excuse.
Yeah. Divine inspiration. If it came into your brain, the universe is tapping you on the shoulder and perhaps saying, get this done. This is yours to do. Divine inspiration. And then following that through to create it is a way of, that is conscious living. It's awesome. Thank you so much, Megan, for being here with us. People will have your email address and your website on this in the show notes and can reach out to you. But thank you so much for being here with us on the Conscious Living Podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
You bet.